Welcome to C Suite Sherpas, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. I'm your host, Ron Partridge. I'm excited today to have Tariq Khan. He's a published author and he's founder of Global Diversity Marketing. Tariq is also a clinical professor of marketing and leadership at New York University. So we're very fortunate to have Tariq on the podcast today. Welcome, Tariq.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ron.
We're going to talk a little bit about global diversity marketing today. Global diversity works with companies to develop strategies in diverse market segments, which are multicultural, women, things like that, which companies don't always have an expertise in that area. And certainly global diversity marketing can really help companies get a message to those kind of segments. So let's start with, if you could just give us a snapshot of what the business is, the major outcomes that you get for your clients, that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, so just to give you the background, Ron, we live in the United States, which is the third largest country in the world in terms of population, largest being India, which recently surpassed China, and then second is China, and third is US. But what's unique about United States is if you really go to India, virtually everyone is Indian. If you go to China, every person is Chinese. But United States is a very unique country in the sense that every third person in this country is either Hispanic, Black, or Asian American. 50% of the population consists of women, which is pretty common with other countries as well. We are a very diverse country if you look at it. And as a futurist, when you look at these things, I always looked at a business opportunity that the face of America has been changing for many years. And now by 2032, which is not far off, Caucasian population is going to become a minority in this country. And if you live or do business in any of the 10 largest cities in the US, they are a minority today. So we are a very diverse country. And I look at it as an opportunity that how our customers and employees are changing, and are the companies ready today to leverage the business opportunity and connect with those customers and the employees. So that's how, global diversity marketing, GDM, came into the business. And as a student of marketing and leadership, I'm always looking how quickly the world is changing, and more so United States.
And you've actually written a book around leadership, right? Describe that a little bit more.
Yeah, so I started writing book somewhere around 2018, and writing a book, if you writing through a publisher, it takes a very long time because you have to do a lot of research. I'm from academics as well. So it took me about a year and a half to write the book, and I was pretty much ready with the book in January of 2020. The title of the book was Leadership in Changing Times. And when January of 2020, we were hit with COVID. I went back to my publisher and I said that everything that I've written is kind of becoming irrelevant. And they said, you must be out of your mind. It takes about a year to write a book. And I said that I feel very uncomfortable giving content which was written before COVID. So we are going through that. So I virtually rewrote the book, and we changed everything in the book because of the COVID. But one thing that we didn't change was the title of the book, which is Leadership in Changing Times. So the book focuses on that how we have a leadership bankruptcy in the world, whether you take it from a scientific perspective, from business, every which way. Yes, there are some incredible leaders, but the flexibility and adaptability is lacking. That's why how we were hit with the same problem across the world with COVID, and how different countries reacted differently. And that really exposed us. So the book focuses on what leaders have to do today in order to changing their businesses. The COVID taught us one thing, that, before COVID, we all had conference calls. We don't do that. Now we do Zoom or Teams. So our behaviors have changed. It's very difficult for companies to get people to come to the office, the old office that we call 5 days a week. So it's all about how in the changing environment, the leadership has to be more adaptable and flexible.
So what sets global diversity marketing apart from other people that may do similar things?
Yeah, I think we are basically a company of strategists, right? We develop a strategy. We prepare your company from future. If you look at Kodak, that started in the end of 18th century, just about 1900, they had about 5,000 employees out of New York. In the 80s and 90s, they were at their peak with over 120,000 employees. I think they're left with now 5,000 employees. So when you look at Kodak as a company, it was a great company. We all know Kodak. The company didn't fail. The leadership failed. And the reason is not because their products became irrelevant. Kodak is the company that actually invented digital camera. Today, companies' leadership are not looking forward. And what we help them is that whatever you do business, it doesn't matter who I am and what age group do I belong, what gender do I represent, or what ethnicity I come from. I always look at my employees and my customer. They're changing constantly, and we help companies to prepare and fully leverage. So if you're living in Texas and you don't have a strategy to reach out to diverse audience, you may be missing out on a great opportunity. 76% of the US population consists of women and multicultural. And if you don't have a specific strategy to tap them as employee and customers, I think you're losing out a huge opportunity in the business world.
Yeah, and so what's the biggest challenge, would you say, that this industry kind of faces? You've laid out the case for the changing demographics basically in our population. Is that the biggest challenge?
I think I'm seeing a bigger challenge. Okay. And the challenge comes from something that we have never faced before. So, there are baby boomers, there are Gen X, I'm an older Gen X, then there are millennials and Gen Zs and Alpha, Delta coming. Right now, there are 4.3 million robots in the workforce. Okay, Amazon and many other companies are using it. Morgan Stanley has projected by 2040, there will be 8 million humanoids in the workforce, 2040, which is just 15 years from now. If you listen to Elon Musk, he says there'll be 10 billion. So what's going to happen that just now you and I are talking, probably 5 or 10 years from now, this conversation will happen between a humanoid and a real person. So we know how to lead people, how to manage people, how to deal with their emotions. Our leadership is not prepared to have a workforce which is blended not with humans, but humanoids and robots. So I think we are going to face that challenge, which no one is prepared for. And people worry about that I'm going to lose my job to technology. You never lose your job to technology. You lose your job to someone who knows how to use technology. So I think with the generational changing and the generation beyond that, they are very different. They are technology native. They have never seen a world without that. I mean, it's so difficult to find good talent today and have them come to your office in a space 5 days a week. And sometimes they do sound entitled, but the reason they do is because they know that somebody will hire them, give them a full remote access to their work life. So I think there are a lot of major gaps, and I personally believe that the changes that we'll see in the next 10 years are going to be far more than what we have seen in the last 100 years.
Well, so how are you helping your clients stay ahead of that?
It depends on a business. If you're a small company, if you're a pharma, if you're a healthcare, if you're insurance, if you're customer, what we do is, first of all, we look at the company and we look at their future strategy. What are your strategies in the next 5 years? How are you going to engage your customers? If you're in B2B, what is your strategy? If you're in a B2C, how are you going to connect with your customer on a favorable basis? Now, what we find out that many companies are using old strategies because that have worked for them. But whatever has worked in the past may not work in the future, right? So laptops, I'm sure you're sitting on a laptop, I'm sitting on a laptop, would be a product of past in next 5 years. The young kids will make fun of us that you used to carry this huge device with you. What we do is we go to the companies, we look at their business, we do market intelligence, depending on what product and services they are offering. We tell them that how 5 or 10 years from now would be impacted. If you're making wallet, you may not be in business making wallets 5 years from now. So you better start making phone cases, right? Because there are two things that we don't leave our home without, phone and a wallet. One of them will exist and you know which one, right? So what we do is we help companies understand the changing demographics, how their product would be relevant or irrelevant to them. And we develop a strategy and we help them execute that strategy so they can stay relevant and they don't become Blockbuster or Borders and they become Amazon.
Yeah, it's hard to change people's minds. How do you get people to kind of make the transformation from the kind of the old way of thinking of marketing to this new way?
I think first of all, we use data, right? Data makes a lot of difference. If I tell you that in Houston, 42% of the small businesses are owned by women and people of color, and if small businesses you target and you have a strategy, you're not targeting them, you're leaving 42% of the business on the table for someone else, right?
Yeah.
So we share real data and then we do predictive modeling. and we talk to them the role of artificial intelligence and technology in their business and how competitive they want to be. At the end of the day, no one is in business to say that I want to wrap up my business in 5 years. And if someone wants to do that, we can help them as well. But our core focus is really sharing real information and give them a competitive analysis. No one wants to be Borders or Barnes and Nobles. Everyone wants to be Amazon. So real data probably speaks louder than anything else. And then we share our insights to make it more useful information for them.
That's great. Good stuff. So I'm going to ask you some questions and then just give me the answers and we'll take it from there. You good?
I'm good.
All right. Coffee or tea?
You'd be surprised. I never had either one of them in my life.
Really?
I drink water. I do sodas probably once in 3 years.
Wow. I wish I had that habit.
Yeah, my wife is very happy about this habit.
Cats or dogs?
I love pets, both of them, but somehow dogs are more entertaining. And as soon as if you have kids, if they move out, somehow they know how to replace them very well. But yeah, either one of them are very good.
Either one.
Even
Yeah.
cats are very smart to engage you as well.
Yeah. Favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
I would have to say that the biggest risk in life is not taking one.
Favorite movie or streaming series?
Oh gosh, past COVID, I have stopped going to the theater. So I am now watching, believe it or not, I spend a lot of time, not full movies, but I watch a lot of entertaining podcasts. I watch a lot of TikToks, those short reels and films. I'm not following any series. The last one I watched was SWAT on Netflix. And then just staying more on my smaller screen and, just see what reels are available there on podcast.
How about your favorite book?
Oh, there are so many. I'm in academics, so unfortunately, I read textbooks too. But just to name by Jim Collins, Good to Great.
Oh, yeah.
It's a classic. I'm a big fan of Jim Collins as well. And there are so many. There's one on leadership. So I'm a big book person. But now I'm reading a lot of articles and blogs as well, because somehow the world is getting on that pace where they are just summarizing everything. I do HBR articles, Forbes, Fortune magazine articles as well. And I do go back to the old books as well and reread them at times.
All right. How about the last question? One bucket list item that you've already accomplished and one bucket list item that you have not yet accomplished.
So I'm a big travel junkie. I gave myself a goal of hitting 100 countries. And the one that I have accomplished, which means I'm on time with that, I have done about 77. So I have another 5 years to hit 23 countries, which hopefully I'll be able to do that.
Do you have a plan?
Yes. Every year, go away for 2 months with family and try to do 4 or 5 countries. Yeah.
I think traveling is probably the best education that you could get in the world.
I think you learn so much, and especially around post-COVID, what we learned is these intangible experiences are far more rewarding and satisfying, and you get to know and learn about so many cultures and people. So I really love doing that as long as I can.
That's awesome. So if there is anything you could tell the viewers now, what would it be?
I would say that companies don't fail, leaders do. And it's very important for every leader, every organization to have a competitive strategy in place and never think your previous success will carry you forward, because the world is changing rapidly and what got you there may not keep you there. So just make sure that you work with experts. Find someone who's better than you in some other expertise that you're not good at and partner with them and learn from them. I do it all the time.
So the most important question I got, the last one, is if any of the viewers would like to get a hold of you and collaborate with you, what's the best way to do that?
I think they can shoot me an email or they can connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you type my name, Tariq Khan, and you can type New York University, or you can type diversity after my name, you would connect with me. The only problem is that LinkedIn, you get so many cold messages. So I can share my email. They can shoot me an email at tkhan@gdmus.com.
Okay, perfect. All right, Tariq, thank you. It's been very interesting. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for what you're doing, and thanks for giving me an opportunity as well.